you should never view your challenges as a disadvantage. Instead, it's important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest advantages. And I know that because I've seen it myself, not just as a student working my way through school, but years later before I came to the White House and I worked as a dean at a college. In that role, I encountered students who had every advantage. Their parents paid their full tuition, they lived in beautiful campus dorms, they had every material possession a college kid could want: cars, computers, spending money. But when some of them got their first bad grade, they just fell apart. They lost it because they were ill-equipped to handle their first encounter with disappointment or falling short.
Hello, and welcome to Unfiltered. The new Harvard class of 2021 marks a special class. For the first time in the history of the private university's 380 plus years, the majority of students admitted were non-white. Yes, it sounds great in the sense of greater diversity, but what does it really mean? What does this mean for representation in spaces that have historically not only been majority white, but also male? Unfiltered presents to you a seat at the table, where you will see individuals, groups from different backgrounds and spaces telling their truths. Now, this isn't a knock or a diss to anyone. This is just an introduction. An introduction to the people who aren't politely knocking at the door of opportunity, but breaking down the doors and opening it up for the next line of people. This is not simply about race. This is about representation, people, individuals with stories, struggles, hardships, but most importantly, a vision of hope, a vision of a better tomorrow. They won't accept the scraps at dinner. No. They want a seat at the table.
Bring the beat in. Oh yeah. Ooh, yeah. Hey, look around. People tell me what you see. Hey, so much room for me to thrive, but they don't want me to succeed. We want a seat at the table, and we gon' get it by any means. We want a seat at the table, and we gon' get it by any means. Tell me please, what will it take just for you to see? In the end, all we ever wanted was an opportunity. We want a seat at the table, and we gon' get it by any means. Yeah, we want a seat at the table, and we gon' get it by any means. We playing hide and seek with freedom. If you don't wanna help, we gon' get it.
Our journey begins with three rising seniors at Harvard: Marcus Dennis, Kirby Porter, and Robert Rush. Here, we start with Marcus, whom friends and classmates call the president. You'll see why.
Read what other successful people have done, how their trajectories, because then you'll start to see this pattern that there is no path, right? There is no one set way to get to where you want to get to. Every single person that has accomplished their goals and reached some sort of notoriety in their profession did it in their own unique way. Hi, my name is Marcus Dennis, and this is me, Unfiltered. I'm a summer analyst at Goldman Sachs doing investment banking. No, I didn't necessarily see myself being an investment banker, but I knew I was interested in business. So Goldman Sachs, as I learned more and more about business and the industry, I understood that being an investment banker is a great way to sort of understand the industry and understand business from a high level in general. So that's what really made me want to become an investment banker. So I'm from right outside of DC in Prince George's County, and I love it because it's such a diverse place. So the type of sauce that we put on our food in DC is a glorified ketchup per se, but it's good, and we put it on everything from wings to fries to hash browns. You can put it on anything. That mumbo sauce, that's DC all day. Prince George's County is one of the highest concentrations of African American wealth in the country, but on the other hand, the education system is crumbling. There's a lot of poverty sitting right next to where there's a lot of wealth. So that tension makes it an interesting place to grow up. But my dad grew up with 11 siblings on a small farm in Alabama and worked his way all the way up to the Federal Reserve as an internal auditor for the Board of Governors for the Federal Reserve. And then my mother, she was raised by an English grade school teacher and a vice principal from the local high school. So that combination of parents really instilled in me making the most of what you have. Most of the disposable income that my family had was to send my brother and me to private school. So that was my parents' highest priority, was for us to get a top-notch education. I never saw myself coming to Harvard. I only wanted to go to college, so thinking growing up, that was my only goal, was to get to college, because that's the goal that my parents instilled in me. 617, that's the Cambridge number. So I scrambled, I ran out of the meeting, which I'm not supposed to do as an intern, but I did it anyway. I picked up Whisper Hello, and they said, "This is the Dean of Harvard Law School. Congratulations, you got into Harvard Law School." But after the congratulations, I kind of blacked out, and I never got an email for 24 hours. So I thought I had just dreamed it. So, and my mom was crying. She called me, and the first thing she asked me is, "Can I tell your grandma?" I said, "Yeah, Mom, of course you can." Refuse to be denied. Just refuse to be denied for whatever you're doing. Never, ever, ever be denied as far as someone saying you can't accomplish something, someone saying that you can't reach this goal. Never, ever, ever internalize that, because the moment you internalize that and let other people's insecurities and other people's opinions affect the way you go about chasing your dreams, it's going to deter you from your path.
I want people that look like myself to also remember, sounds kind of shallow, but what I've done, and I'm not there yet. Hi everyone, I'm Porter, and this is me, Unfiltered. I think the best part about New York has definitely been expanding beyond my comfort zone, or getting out of my comfort zone, just bouncing so many things. I'm the type of person that I love to be passionate about things because I know that's going to make me succeed. So I just knew I needed to find what that was. What did my passions translate to in the working world, in the workforce? So I would say I looked at myself, and I kind of took my passions about sports, and I was able to identify where I can add value. Yeah, I'm at work and the job is very challenging, but I still have my responsibilities as a student athlete. The average person doesn't know like the time commitment or like what a student athlete like really goes through. It's like, it's not just that we have practice, it's that we got back from Penn and Princeton or Cornell at 3 a.m. and we have that paper due the next day at the same time as everyone else. But I think what it is, it's really just get it done. Like, you have to find the time, you have to find a way, and oftentimes there's not an excuse for you. I think what it takes to be a great leader is definitely taking a step back and being able to look at things objectively and decide at a high level like what's best for the team. Just like as the past few years, I've always been a teammate first. I've always been everybody's friend on the team, but now it's a mentality switch. I definitely want people to say that I made them feel better about themselves, and that I was an encouraging friend first, a very genuine person, and that kind of comes off in how I value myself, but also how I treat others in my friendships. But I hope that what I've done and like the experiences that I have had can inspire people, can inspire women of color. Sounds a little bit cliche, but I just think you can't, it's hard to think you can be what you can't see, and representation definitely matters just so they can see what's possible.
How you doing?
Okay, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you as well. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too, guys.
Yeah, no problem. My name is Robert Rush. This is me. Unfiltered.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
When I was younger, so the train for me was my version of vacation. You know, I've been to a lot of schools, from Phillips Academy and Harvard, where people, like, their vacation is going abroad or going to some exotic place. For me, it was being on the train. You come from some place that looks completely different into something new from underground, and I thought it started out really cool.
Of the closing doors, please.
So one thing that's really different about where we just came from on 34th Street, Penn Station, is the evident presence of boys in blue, or NYPD. And this particular platform is very significant for me because this was my very first experience with being a young black man in a society in which our bodies are seen as threatening. And as I was coming through the exit, this guy like came up next to me dressed in like normal people clothing and everything, and then I see him pull out a badge and put it in my face, and that's when I realized that, you know, I was getting stopped by the cops. Rather than telling me to, you know, stop and then talk to me like a normal person, I was slammed against this gate right here. So I told my friends, just back off, I got it. And when I found a moment of breath, I just explained to the officers, listen, I'm just trying to meet my friends. I'm not trying to cause any issues. You know, I'm just home from school. You know, like I'm just on break. And then he asked me what school did I go to. And I said, oh, I go to Phillips Academy Andover. And he was like, you go to Andover? And the key part about it is the way he said you was such a surprise on his lips. And then I gave him my Andover ID, and he let me go. I felt like I wasn't respected, my humanity wasn't respected. From this point here, I can go any which direction. This type of stories basically show, to be quite honest, it's just a sense of, I think, like, for me, it's the authenticity. It doesn't matter like what your bank account is. It doesn't matter what job you work for. Just coming here to buy some shit. Just what it is. Get the shirt with the tie already tied. Where they do that at? Tell me. Welcome to one of the most significant places in my life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Lincoln Medical Center. That's because it was the first place and only place to give my mom a job. She is my role model. Everything that I do is for her because I realized that she worked really hard to put me in a position that I am in today. First of all, she had me by herself. My dad was locked up at the time and wasn't able to be there. And when my mom left the hospital, it was during the blizzard of 1996. You know, she came out of the hospital, a little baby in her arms, tried to hail 1,000 cabs, not a single one was stopping her. This little lady with a baby in her arms, she walked all the way home with me in that blizzard and made it. I hope to be as resilient as she is one day. My mother's everything to me. She's everything to me. And so I worked twice as hard to make sure that she gets to have the life that she always deserved, but was never able to experience.
Life will put many obstacles in your path that are far worse than a bad grade. You'll have unreasonable bosses and difficult clients and patients. You'll experience illnesses and losses, crises and setbacks that will come out of nowhere and knock you off your feet. But unlike so many other young people, you have already developed the resilience and the maturity that you need to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep moving through the pain. Keep moving forward. You have developed that muscle. And please, please always do your part to help others do the same.